everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talkin Tuong, the weekly quarantine show where I get to talk to my friends near and far to talk about movies, comic books, video games, whatever my guest really wants to talk about that week. And this is episode 61. I never get to say the episode that we're on, but we've done a lot of these Talkin Tuongs ever since quarantine started. We changed the format of the show, and I've been reaching out to everybody that I can to talk about things. And I'm very excited for my guest today because I think, COVID is a lot of things, mostly shitty. 99% shitty, but there's some good that's come out of it. And I would say I've made a nice connection with my guest because we get to podcast from far away. We've talked about science fiction technology, which I'll bring up in a little bit. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Today's guest is Brie Watson, everyone. Hello.
Hello. Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Brie, I'm excited for you to be here. Now, last time we spoke, we talked extensive, just a lot about Star Trek, mostly.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed.
I had a lot of people reach out to me and to talk about that episode, which often happens.
Did they agree with our conclusion? Which I don't know if we should talk about. We should just make people listen to that episode. Yeah.
Top 5 science fiction technology. Here's a spoiler. Mm-hmm. Brie and her brother Nick brought up a ton of Star Trek.
We know a lot of Star Trek. What's worse is that I've only watched more Star Trek since then. Oh no. Oh, and you would know too, because you run the Pen is Mightier.
Yeah, that's right. You you watch a lot of Star Trek in general. But people agreed with the list, which is great because I was afraid that, they're like, well, there's a lot of science fiction technology. Why do they keep talking about Star Trek? And then it turns out Star Trek has just some really good science fiction technology.
The technology on Star Trek is like why we have iPads now, it's why we have a lot of the technology we have now because this science fiction program thought it up years ago because of Gene Roddenberry's very creative mind and team.
You're saying that Steve Jobs from the grave owes some money to the people behind Star Trek.
To Gene Roddenberry.
Specifically.
His estate, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Brie, some people don't know who you are. Maybe they got a taste of you're a big Trekkie, but they don't know the full picture. So do you want to explain to all the fans of Talkin Tuong what you're all about?
Yeah, okay. My name is Brie. I am a comedian. I am an improviser, stand-up comic, and a sketch comedian, an improv instructor, and all-around nerdy human being. I run a podcast with my brother, and I started Improv Niagara in the Niagara region when I moved down here, and I teach at the Second City. So I don't know. I'm not good at talking about my credits. I got to get better at that. I
don't know. I feel like you've flexed a lot, which is great. You need to, because we talk to a lot of people on Talkin Tuong, a lot of former comedians. I say former, not that they're not anymore, more that they've stopped entirely.
Because of the pandemic, or
because of the pandemic, more like
They're like,
I get that. Like, I kind of am like, I ebb and flow in the comedy scene these days too. Cause I'm like, Holds Up and online improv.
Yeah, but you have these podcasts which are excellent conduits for it, right?
Yes,
now. You know what I mean?
Got to keep creative.
Yeah.
Got to keep creative.
You're keeping us working. You're keeping us flowing, which is great.
Thank you. I love that you're saying podcast is work because work usually pays me.
Yeah.
But podcasting, I lose money.
What about this affiliate link you keep talking about?
You know what? I keep plugging it, but it's very little comes in. Well, Brie, I'm very happy to talk to you today. Now, we are living in dark times, but like I alluded to in the beginning of the show, that there's some good that's come out of it, like our blooming friendship, but blossoming
connections.
That's right. But what are the things that keep you happy during the pandemic right now?
I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Tuong. Edibles and comedy films.
I love that.
Or I should say TV shows also, edibles and TV shows. I'm being very serious too. Like if it was not for, okay, and my cat, I'll say that too.
Okay.
I was actually talking the other day with my husband, and we were petting my cat and being very stupid with her, and we're like, if this cat wasn't here right now, like we would be so bored. We would be so bored and so angry. But yeah, 100% edibles. It's like if we're feeling down, we know that this is like, it is an instant, well, not instant, takes about a half hour. We're a half hour away to just like nonstop laughs and just like ridiculousness. And it's a great way to just sort of tune out of what's going on. If the day's been too heavy or whatever, you know, we just take a couple of these little gummies and go to friggin' town. And then all of a sudden it's like the dumbest things will make you like so delighted, you know? And it sounds, I don't know, the way I'm explaining it makes it sound so dumb.
Sure.
And I can imagine my parents like just shaking their head at me, but honestly, like, edibles. This podcast is sponsored by edibles.
Oh man, I wish it was sponsored by edibles. Should we have done a few? Although we wouldn't get anywhere.
That's true. We wouldn't have gotten anything done.
Yeah, I just be giggling the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. Or we just like say something and just like nothing, you know, just be like, what? Now I'm in my head about this. Wait, what?
Oh no, I didn't hit record.
Oh no, this whole time. Although I do have to say that, okay, so I've been doing, this is another thing that's been very helpful over the past month anyway, is that I started this improv a day challenge.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So I've basically just been doing one single improv scene with somebody new every single day in the month of January. And I got a good amount of people signed up for it. So we're going to go into February and March too.
Wow.
But I do have to say, like, probably structurally my best improv scene so far has been one where both myself and the other improviser were high on edibles. Like, she was also like a bottle of wine deep. So it was like, I was pretty impressed by how that turned out. At first, like, we spent a good amount of time beforehand talking nothing, right? Yeah. And then once we got into the scene, I was like, there's push pull, there's give and take, there's game, there's jokes. This is fire.
I love that. And I wanted to shout that out because I keep forgetting to sign up. I'd love to do that with you.
Oh yeah.
But I also,
let's do it for sure.
We got to do it. The other thing is, like, what I really like about what you're doing is you're keeping the improv community from all over the place like engaged in a very like low pressure and quick format where it's like you're not committing to a whole show, you're committing to hanging out with yourself, which is awesome,
for like 10 minutes,
for 10 minutes,
max 10 minutes.
And like it's nobody, I don't know, I feel like the I don't know if there's any pressure anymore with improv, but I feel like a lot of comedians feel like some sort of pressure when they're on a show.
Yeah, but some people still do. Like, I'll get messages from people like a week in advance and they're like, what do I do? I'm like, don't even think about it until it's time, you know?
Yeah. I mean, no one's going to say boo in the chat. I would hope. That would be awful.
Oh, could you imagine? No. Yeah. And I make it like, even if you're a new improviser, I'm going to make it so like easy and supportive for you, you know, like you're not going to feel like in some improv scenes where you go and they just talk shit about you because you didn't yes and properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not the idea. Actually, the whole idea was like, I took a class in like last year. I took a class with, big name drops here.
Here we go.
With Susan Messing and Rachel Mason of Chicago's Every Theater in Chicago.
Wow.
And we were working on some things, and I identified something that I was like, I don't think I do this well enough. I wish I could practice more. Mm-hmm. How do I do that? And then I was like, what if I do a scene a day? And then it just became this super fun thing. Yeah. I get to see all of these people I haven't seen in so long, and we get to play, and I get to work on this one thing, which is, it seems like it's not even the priority anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice way to hang out with people, which is kind of why I changed the format of Talking Tongue, because I'm like, I freaking miss people and I want to like talk and just, shoot the shit for like an hour. Yours seems a lot more manageable. It's like,
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh yeah. But mine's like, I mean, let's be real. The homework is to watch a movie most of the time. So it's not really that hard at all.
I'm kind of glad I did because anyway, whatever, I'll say it later. I was gonna say, I'm glad I rewatched it though. Cause sometimes it's like in your mind, you're like, oh, this is just excellent. There's nothing at all that I could say wrong about this movie. And then you watch it and you're like, ooh, wait, that didn't.
Maybe didn't age so well, but still good. Okay, we'll talk about that movie in a bit. How about
I did want to mention, I'm sorry, because you did mention that thing about missing people. And I get the feeling that you, even though you are predominantly podcast medium, predominantly working on your own in the comfort of your, I assume, basement. Is that a basement?
That's right. That's right. The cavern.
I still get the feeling that that you're an extrovert. Are you an extrovert?
You know what? I at one time I think I took a test and I was on the line of like 50-50 ambivert. And then when I took I don't know what recent test I took, but it was, anyways, I toe more on the introvert side now.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
I think it's possible that it changes and it goes back and forth for sure. But I am like a 100% extrovert. So this is like this part of the pandemic has been like, it's been tough. And the other day I was having I was like in a funk and I felt like, I don't want to say lonely, but I was like in my head a lot. That's what I'll say. I'll be like, I was thinking things that I was like, why am I even thinking this? And then like my buddy Erica runs a daily workout. It's like at the same time every day, and she like murders us for an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It's horrible. No. But I think the advantage is that we're all there together. Right. And so as soon as I was like so not motivated to do the workout. I wasn't motivated to do anything. As soon as I saw these people show up on my screen, I was like, I was so happy. It was so like, and it's so dumb, that it's like, that's all it took. I could have just asked somebody to chat like a half hour ago and I would have been in a better mood. But anyway, I was just like, that was like, for me, I was like, oh, I am for sure an extrovert. I miss people so much.
Yeah. Well, even for myself, who I would say I lean towards the introverts ish these days, but like I would say I'm pretty in the middle, to be honest. But when I do get those moments of that I need to see people, it can get very lonely. It's like, you live with your partner. I live with my partner, and it's like we have our pets as well, which are nice. Of course. I'm so happy that I get to have somebody.
Oh my goodness. It could be, you know what I mean? There are a lot of people out there who are living alone without pets, So obviously I'm happy to be around Dan.
But also you spend so much time with someone, it gets nutty. It's like, oh, here we go again. And you just argue about stupid stuff. It's a very not a real problem. I'm so lucky to have somebody, but it's like, there's a lot that weighs on you for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, I am glad that we live out here rather than like Dane and I used to live in Toronto in this tiny little condo that we rented in Toronto. And I'm like, if we were still there, like this would have been very different. But right now he's in the basement. I'm on the, top level of the house. We're fine. There's plenty of distance. He gets to do what he wants to do. I get to do what I want to do. And there's no like interference. Like in the condo, I used to be like, why do you have to listen to the news all the time?
I feel that we just moved recently in the last couple of months, and that was like a big factor of like, we can't. We can't.
It's true. It adds stress. People need their space.
Absolutely. Well, how about we get into the news of the week? What
a segue. I was talking about the news a second ago, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Now, we don't talk about those, news stories that Dan probably watches. CNN, I don't know what he watches.
He watches it all. Like, it's like, if he could have like one of those command centers with like all of the different channels on at the same time, I bet he would do that.
Oh, I believe it. And I've only met Dan once. So no, we talk about news headlines that I pull from IGN that I've never seen before. So
what's IGN?
IGN's just a overall video game, TV,
okay.
movies website.
Love it.
It's an okay website, but they're really good at throwing out quick headlines. So that's why I'm here. And we're going to start off with, let's see. Could Robert Downey Jr. have been the Karate Kid?
Ooh.
So Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio, he was looks like in this article he was recounting a tale to Jimmy Fallon that in the auditioning room was Charlie Sheen, Nick Cage, and Robert Downey Jr. for the Karate Kid. Thoughts?
I bet Robert Downey Jr. could have done it, and maybe it would have like kept him clean longer, you know?
Yeah.
He went through some tough times. And like who cares about the Karate Kid now? Okay, I know Cobra Kai's out now, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like we didn't hear about this guy since then, right?
Well, he's been on small stuff, but like Karate Kid's his bread and butter. Now, Brie, have you watched Cobra Kai?
No. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
Oh my God. You gotta put that on your list.
You like it?
I love it.
Okay. All right.
I love it. We've talked about Cobra Kai before on this show, and I will say it's a really fun show, and you don't even have to like the original Karate Kid.
Okay, that's good. Because like I heard some people talk a little sauce about it. They were a little bit like, oh, the show, bleh, but maybe.
No, it's great.
No?
It's great.
Okay.
Tongue seal of approval right now.
Okay.
What else do we have here? Harry Potter TV series reportedly in development for HBO Max. Thoughts on that?
Okay, all right. Hang on. Doesn't this woman A have enough money? B, do we want to encourage this turf?
Yeah. True.
And but 3, let's be honest, I would watch the fuck out of that. If it's HBO Max, you know, it's going to be of a good quality, of a certain quality. But what on earth is it going to be about? They already made movies about the TV shows. Is it going to be like, they already made movies about the books.
Yeah.
So what is the TV show going to be about?
And they made like movies based on like their short story Fantastic Beasts, which is,
and they made a Broadway musical. Like,
oh yeah, was it a musical or was it like a 2-part play?
I think it's just a play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good thing it's not a musical. That would be ridiculous.
Voldemort.
Oh no, I would for sure see that.
Me too.
That being said, I have not seen The Cursed Child.
No, same. What would you want out of a Harry Potter TV show?
I wonder. Okay. Because we've already seen like Harry grow up. Yeah. And like, does it seem like the logical thing is for it to be like Harry's, like the next generation, almost like a Degrassi thing, but about like
sure.
Harry and Ginny's children? Or
isn't that what and forgive me, I've read Harry Potter a few times, but isn't that cursed child all about like
shit?
So maybe it's his child, the child's child.
Well, maybe we go back then to like I would watch something about Harry's parents, maybe like James.
Okay,
is before like because we know what happened to them, but we didn't get to see their journey at Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's true. But then it's like you got to cast someone else as Alan Rickman.
Oh, it's true.
Snape.
Yeah, but like but he would be younger. You know what I mean? So
That's
it wouldn't be. So you would. I'm sure we could find who would be a good like baby Snape, not baby Snape.
Baby Snape.
Like who would be a good teenage Snape?
I don't know. They'd have to have a deep voice though.
Yeah. Oh man,
Alan
can
Rickman
we see
voice?
like James McAvoy as a baby Hagrid?
Okay, all right. I'm in. Yeah, I'm always conflicted with new Harry Potter news because, of course, like J.K. Rowling, I was gonna say kind of sucks. She sucks. She sucks.
Like I don't understand how you can go from like, oh, you know, it's such a big deal. I made the Professor Dumbledore gay to like, nope, there's no way that trans people should, you know, exist. You know, like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's like you created a world about children wizards and you can't like expand your mind a little bit to be you know to accept that maybe people don't identify in this stupid binary anyway.
She's exhausting for sure. I'm like always conflicted because I'm like I'm always in the mind, And I hate that, like, no matter what Harry Potter content comes out, she probably gets a good cut of it.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
isn't she the most like wealthy woman in England? She's got more money than the queen.
I bet.
She's
Like,
richer than the queen.
I hate that. But I wish, like, for me, I feel like Harry Potter belongs to the fans, you know? Like, it's like you made it. Maybe it's kind of like a Star Wars thing, too, where it's like, yeah, okay, you made it. You made the background of all these characters, but it's beyond you now. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the fans.
George Lucas doesn't really do anything anymore, you know? Like,
No.
we've got new directors, I guess, whatever. I guess J.K. Rowling never really directed her movies, but still.
No. But I think she penned like the scripts and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know. I don't know enough about her, nor do I want to.
Yeah,
so.
I know enough by now.
Yeah.
I guess like it's so like, I don't know. This idea that it's like, okay, well, feminism, you know, like women have worked this hard to achieve the rights that we have. So like, why is it a bad thing for us to be able to say, okay, great. Now, you know, people who identify as women who weren't born, you know, like, why would you stop at that fight? You know what I mean? Why would you be like, that's it, no more feminism? You can't even be like, women are equal now and that's it, because we're still not. But you know what I mean? Like, why end the fight there?
Absolutely exhausting person to follow. I don't even follow her, but like I just see like things that she writes. She's like, no, I am an ally, but
yeah, exactly.
I don't want my rights as a woman to be taken away. It's like,
nobody's gonna take your rights.
we can
gonna happen.
We can all just be living. We can all just be happy.
We just want other people to not get beat up for trying to go to the bathroom, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, geez.
Well, speaking of TV series, here's another hot one for you. The people who made Vikings, which I've never seen, are trying to adapt The Great Gatsby as a TV series.
A series? Why?
I don't know. Like, wait, why does that have to be a full series?
It does. It's just like every new episode is a new party, maybe? Is that just how it goes? Like, and also we all know how it's going to end. We all know how it's going to end. If you've seen the movie, if you've read the book, it doesn't end great for our friend Gatsby. Why do we need to watch a whole TV show about
now,
this?
what if it's about Great Gatsby's parents?
Not interested.
Okay.
I'm out.
And there's a line between human parents and wizard parents. I got you.
Agree. Like, I am so into Harry Potter's dad. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit about Gatsby's parents. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Okay, what are your thoughts on, how about Godzilla versus Kong? That trailer dropped not too long ago. Have you seen those other movies? Do you care?
Like, I remember when Godzilla came out when I was like, you know, like the 1990, was it 99 maybe one? I remember the one with the sweet soundtrack with that Wallflowers song.
Yes.
So maybe that was the last time I was interested in Godzilla. Godzilla versus, I mean, I get it. You just want to see giant monsters kick each other's asses.
Right?
You know? So I get it.
Yeah, I haven't seen those other movies, and people like, I can't, there's been like, you know, there's a ton of Godzilla movies, but since it's rebooted with Bryan Cranston, I don't even think he's in those anymore. But there's been 3 other movies. There's been the Godzilla movie. There's been that Kong movie with Tom Hiddleston, and also another Godzilla movie. And then there's this one. It's like out of nowhere, this has become a franchise.
I mean,
connected
it's just
universe.
it's just like people want to watch giant ass monsters and really cool CG, you know? So it might not be for me, but I don't know, like, let it happen.
Let it happen. I agree. I want to see that too. And I haven't seen those other movies. So, all right, maybe we should talk.
Kong is like, I don't know how much more there is to Kong. Is the point, like, I don't know, the original, right? Like, they take him from this island, they bring him to New York, right? And it's a disaster.
Yeah, but he
what
also
else?
like trusts one person. I think like he likes one lady. I think, and it's like, Kong, she's a bit small and young for you.
Yeah, so. Kong. I didn't realize he was such a perv.
Yeah, come on, Kong.
Honestly,
you know, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't
You
work.
think it would be fun to see just like if instead of Kong versus Godzilla, it was like Kong and Godzilla and they're just friends and they just sort of go on vacation? Would that be fun?
I bet you that's the end of this movie here.
Just on some like tropical vacation at the end having Mai Tais or whatever.
That's right. It was like all a misunderstanding and they just clink glasses.
They talk it over diplomatically.
That's right. So what else? We should probably, before we move on to the movie of the week, because I think everything else is kind of small potatoes compared to the biggest news story of the week that I'm hoping you know more about than I do, which is all about, let's say, the GameStop stocks
right.
and Robinhood and Reddit. Like, you'd have to be living under a rock not to have heard a little bit of what's going on. Right. But Brie, I'm assuming that you're somewhat of an expert. I don't know. You probably can explain this more than I can, certainly. Well, what do you know about this?
From my understanding, it's a bunch of, like you said, people on Reddit, like Redditors or small-time investors who were able to drive up the price of GameStop's shitty IPO, right? This place, it was like a really crappy stock, but by banding together, they were able to make its value go much higher. Yeah. And once it got too high for the stock market bigwigs, they just shut it down. They were like, no, we can't do this anymore because actual Wall Street people were starting to lose money off of it, and so they just shut it down. Now they're talking about like implementing regulations on the market, which the whole point is that it's not supposed to be regulated. The whole point is that it's a free market. But as soon as, from my understanding, as soon as not super rich people get band together and get involved, that's when it's a problem. That's when it needs to be regulated.
That's yeah. And I would say that's a really good explanation
in layman's terms.
For sure. And I need it in layman's term. Like I saw this blow up and I'm like, I don't get it. I own 2 stocks, like two like
in GameStop.
Nope, I wish, but it's more like I'm not a person who's savvy with the stock market. I was also not the person who's I would say I'm not really wise with making investments. Not that I spend money willy-nilly all the time. It's more that I don't know what to do, and I feel like too lazy to find out.
I feel like unless you're the kind of person who has a fuck ton of money to like invest in things, and you're not, like if we're not the kind of people who are privy to that world, because you already have to have a certain baseline of information. Like the only reason I think I have any kind of knowledge about this is because I left a job and I had a bit of a pension and we had to invest the pension, so it's like, well, okay, like, I don't know, I guess we've got to figure out which way to do this so that eventually, first of all, it's funny to think that I'm going to have a pension. It's going to be so small. I only worked at this place for 5 years, but still.
That's fun. Yeah. And
I also get Dan to tell me more about it, because as you know, he watches the news.
He probably knows a ton.
Yeah, he could tell me. Stuff. He could. Yeah, he says a lot more than I just did. And I also have a buddy who was like posting on Facebook who like I think was very involved in this. Like, wow. I don't know if you know Zohaib Khan.
I do not.
An improviser. Oh, he's an improviser in Toronto.
Is he rich now?
Well, I think he was saying that it was starting to make like a bunch of money, and then all of a sudden it just stopped because they capped it, or they capped it, which is like what?
Yeah, I own stocks only because the 2 last companies, including the one that I work at now, they basically gave us stocks, or a very easy way to be like, hey, do you want stocks? And I'm like, sure.
Does Starbucks do that? Doesn't Starbucks do that for their employees?
I think they do, which is like, that's the way I do stocks, is like, all right, well, it's pretty easy. I don't really have to go too far to do the research. And you're saying I get like a not a discount, but like an employee rate of getting these stocks. Okay, I'll do that. And I guess I'll sell one day or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I've sold some stocks before, made a little bit of cash. And then there's
Oh,
a whole
nice.
like, you got to pay taxes on it. I'm like, this is a whole fucking whatever.
It's the kind of thing where you need an accountant or a financial advisor or both, you know,
Yep.
like I need those people because I don't get it on my own. That's not the way my mind works.
No, I've tried reading this stuff and including this whole story this week, which was like, I had to learn what a short was.
Right.
And
there's that movie that came out that was good.
The Big Short?
First of all, The Big Short and hang on, there were two movies that came out about it. Was that Leonardo DiCaprio one? Leonardo DiCaprio.
Which one was that one?
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
They talk about shorts and penny shorts and all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
it just seems like a big. I hate it. I hate it because it's just like, oh, the people who are already rich know about this like loophole of like, oh, well, if I borrow this and then I sell it at this and then buy it back at this.
You like split up one share into like little, is that how, anyway, yeah.
Anyways, whatever the way it works, I'm sure people are screaming at us being like, you don't know how it works.
You guys are idiots.
But at the end of the day, these people make money. Like they profit.
That's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point of the stock market, right? So all of a sudden these, like I feel like it's probably one of the most democratic things that we've ever seen happen in our, other than voting. We got a bunch of like people who are, I don't want to say cheating the system, but who are figuring out this system who is constantly benefiting richer people. And they're finally manipulating it in such a way that's like, hey, let's maybe we could find a way to distribute this more amongst, the masses. And it's like, nope, shut it down.
Rich people suck.
That's what it all boils down
rather to. Shut it all down than let the poor get rich. And that's stupid.
It's disgusting.
That's disgusting. But that's as much as I know about this.
Yeah. And then you could just be like, oh, no, now we need regulation. That's the part that's kind of like, are you kidding me? Like now,
yeah, they'd rather fuck over everyone than I don't know.
And I guess I thought I saw some amusing memes about like, I guess whoever lost a bunch of people who lost money off of the thing or off of it. And they're like, well, I guess these like multi-million-dollar, like stock people are just going to have to pull themselves up from their bootstraps and stop buying Starbucks every day. And that's how they're going to make it out of this.
Stop buying the avocados at the grocery store,
exactly.
All that stuff.
All this bullshit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I do like the stories of people who are like, although there's some that I'm like, some person got like $11.8 million and they invested $53,000 in the stock market. And I'm like, first of all, that's great. But also I'm like, you had $53,000 lying around. Like, aren't you kind of already sort of rich? Like,
yeah, you're already there. Most people don't make that in a year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like if it was me, it was like, oh, I guess I could try being part of this, which I don't spend time on Reddit. But if I was like, okay, maybe I'll try this out, I'd be like, here's $50. Yeah.
That's what I'll try.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, sick. I've made $300. Woo. Like that's
I guess it's like gambling, right? It's like going to the casino.
Yeah. Well, that's the big story of the week. Now we should just talk about it here. We should just get right into the movie of the week because that's why we're here today. Brie, you brought this movie forward to me, which I've never seen, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Oh my God, I can't believe you hadn't seen it. And I'm so glad that you got to witness it now.
Yes. Please introduce the movie of the week.
The movie is MacGruber. They made a fucking movie. MacGruber.
Hello, MacGruber.
Don't worry, this is just like Nicaragua.
I got shot in Nicaragua.
This is nothing like Nicaragua.
My name is MacGruber, capital M. A, C, capital G, R, U, B, E, R!
MacGruber. For the people who don't know what MacGruber is, do you want to give some backstory behind that?
MacGruber was a silly, easy repeat sketch on Saturday Night Live in the, I'm going to say not late 90s, early aughts, probably more early aughts, where it was a parody of MacGyver, where Will Forte, who was MacGruber, would be faced with these situations. Just like MacGyver, who would have to try to stop a bomb from exploding or stop something terrible from happening using just like simple household objects, just like MacGyver. But instead of it working out like it did for MacGyver, it would always explode. It would just like always something terrible would happen. And Kristen Wiig was his like sort of trusty assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seems like it was like an easy filler sketch that they could throw in there when they're like, we need to fill some time, why don't we throw in another MacGruber sketch? But because it's Will Forte, it's hilarious and brilliant.
He's amazing. I love Will Forte.
Love him. Oh my goodness. Did you see The Last Man on Earth?
Oh my God. I'm so sad they never finished it.
I know.
It's such a good show.
It is so good. I was like I remember they had canceled that and Brooklyn Nine-Nine at the same time, but then they were able to, Brooklyn Nine-Nine got a reboot. And I was like, what?
But Last Man on Earth didn't get that following. Like people who watched it were like, this show's awesome. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, of course, is much more, nothing against Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but it's much more
a fun show.
Streamlined for the mass audience.
It's very, like this is a sitcom. Whereas I do think, like I feel like The Last Man on Earth is a show for like, the like distinguished comedy fan. Like like my dad is not gonna like this character. You know what I mean?
Tandy is not a he's not a good person.
No, exactly. But the hero is such a thing though. Whereas like Andy Samberg's character is lovable, right. A lovable buffoon. But you're right, Tandy is he's a prick, he's so selfish.
He is, but I do like in the second season where he overcompensates. And he's just instead of being a prick, he really wants to be good. Anyways, that's Last Man on Earth.
Yeah, we're talking about MacGruber and the movie.
SNL has made a ton of, SNL movies. Like we're talking about most recently King of Staten Island, which I haven't seen.
Was that a character from?
I guess, but it's an SNL movie,
right.
It's one of
like Pete Davidson, but also Judd Apatow directed it, which I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just looking up like SNL movies, and that movie came up, so I'm not sure where it holds. But I'm thinking of like Tommy Boy.
Oh my
It's
God,
Pat, Wayne's World, like those.
Yes.
SNL movies have been around for Night at the Roxbury for a very long time.
I recently rewatched Night at the Roxbury, and I don't remember enjoying it the first time I saw it so much, but this time I was high on edibles and
edibles.
Enjoyed it.
MacGruber, like first of all, I loved this movie.
Yes.
Thank you for making me watch this, because like I saw like commercials of MacGruber, because I think they're not rebooting it, but they're making like
they're making a TV show, and I'm so excited. But it's for Peacock TV or whatever the heck the NBC streaming service is. So we're gonna have to.
I might have to fucking sign up for that. Fuck. Sign up.
Sign up for that.
But this movie from 2010. It's just, I can't believe it slipped under the radar, because all of the MacGruber commercials that I was seeing for the new whatever, and I didn't even watch the original sketches for MacGruber. It just completely fell under the radar for me.
Like that is like my SNL, like, time. I like that was what Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis, Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, like that was like my cast. You know how like everybody has like their cast. For some people it's like the original, or some with the Belushis, and some people it's like the Mike Myers and Dana Carvey's. But I feel like when I was watching SNL religiously, this cast. I love Will Forte.
Cast is insane.
I know.
And it's so well acted, even though it's dumb. Like
that's it, right?
It's crazy, because I'm like, holy shit, like how are these characters, Will Forte and Kristen Wiig specifically, holding their character when just the most insane lines are coming out of their mouths?
It's It is so, the commitment to these characters is amazing. And I don't think that's something I appreciated before I started performing comedy. I think at first I was like, hey, this is a funny movie. And then like once I started doing comedy more and understanding more about comedy, I was kind of like, no, this is brilliant. Also, like, Val Kilmer, come on.
Oh my God. Yes. And we have like Powers Booth is in this, Maya Rudolph's in this, like
all of the wrestlers.
Yes.
And Ryan Felipe, you know what I mean? Like that guy who's notorious for, well, I guess before, not notorious, that's not a good word.
You're
but
right.
like it was just like the romance movies for the long time. You know what I mean? He was just like the heartthrob. I don't think he'd ever branched into comedy before this.
Right. And I honestly, I'm looking at his movies. Like I've never seen any of his other movies, to be honest, but I recognize his face and I'm like, who is this guy?
Right. Ryan Felipe, he was so big. What was that movie? Are you looking at IMDb right now?
I sort of am. Yes.
I should close my, he was in this movie with, what was it? And it was so hot. And there was like, it was the first time I think they had like a lesbian kiss in like just mainstream movie. What was it? Okay. I imagine you're going to do a little bit of editing here.
No, we leave it all in.
All right, let's just talk nonsense while I look at IMDb
Sure.
in the background.
Ryan Felipe lesbian kiss movie is the Google search I would use.
What I'm saying is that he was like a heartthrob, and I was so attracted to him back in like when he first.
You know what?
Cruel Intentions. That's
Cruel
what it was.
Intentions.
Oh my goodness. Like I was so into him. Like, and that was 99. That was like peak Brie's puberty. You know what I mean? That was like, oh, I'm straight because I like Ryan Felipe that much. You know what I mean?
Kind of looks like Chad Michael Murray. That's kind of how I was like.
See. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe of that era, I think.
It's like handsome, good jawline, short-haired man.
Those lips, come on. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that it was strange to see him in this kind of role, right? He's never really in this kind of, it's always like serious or romantic or, you know, like dramatic roles. It's never
not
silly
putting celery
in his butt.
Did
you watch any of the bloopers?
No, I did not. I can't wait. Now I'm going to do that.
There's a couple takes where his celery keeps cracking and he needs to replace his celery.
Okay. What else do we want to talk about this movie? Like what are your favorite moments?
Okay.
Of
can
this
I,
movie?
well then like, I think it'd be remiss of me not to highlight the best part of this movie is that it has the two best sex scenes of all of cinematic history.
Yeah, yes, please talk about this because it made me chuckle a lot. And I don't always just laugh out loud when I watch comedy stuff. Like I'll chuckle inside. Like this movie made me consistently laugh out loud.
I'm amazed because you said you were watching it sort of at the same time you were doing something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how you can do that. Because when I watch MacGruber, I'm like, I want to experience every single moment.
I stopped actually. I was doing, because I usually for Talking Tongue to save some time, hopefully work's not listening to this, but when it's not busy, I try to throw up the movie for the week on my iPad so I can kill two birds with one stone kind of thing.
Right.
But I was laughing so much. I'm like, I need to watch this on the big screen. So that evening I watched the rest of the film. I only got 20 minutes in anyways. Yeah, to watch it on the big screen. So that was awesome.
So you saw the sex scene on the big screen, which
very
important. Well, it's the best scene because it's first of all the music, right, that leads into it, that like take these broken wings that like baby, right, it's gonna be sexy, but the beautiful music, the sexy music that just cuts out to MacGruber's like disturbing thrusting and hilarious sounds, grunting while Kristen Wiig just sits there and takes it. It's magic. It's gold. I don't know what else to say.
I love the line before that, which is like, I'm a virgin, and he says, not for long. And I'm like, oh my God.
She tries to say something and he's like, let me do the talking or something. It's like there are some outtakes there that I think you should definitely see as well, because like, how on earth was Kristen Wiig not just losing her mind the entire time?
Because she's a good actress.
She's good, but at the same time, like, all of that on top of you, like,
well, then it happens again 5 minutes later, which is like such a good comedy bit of just like bringing it back. You know,
God. Are you talking about how it happens 5 minutes later with his ex-wife who is a ghost?
Yes, with Maya Rudolph, when she's not actually there, and they pan, it's just him half naked and thrusting
his ass. Yeah. Oh, man. Like, this is, I don't know, the amount of times that Dan will in jest say, I'm gonna shoot because of that movie. Everything about it is perfection. Like, how do you, I don't know, it's so funny. It's so, could you imagine like having, anyway.
Totally recommend this for people. Of course, we're not going to go through every single bit because, you know, it's something you should watch for yourself. There is one thing that I want to bring up before we celebrate some more moments here. And that's that this movie on Rotten Tomatoes, now Rotten Tomatoes, whatever, take it as you will, and IMDb, very low score. It's,
I think it's one of these things that did terribly in the box office, but developed a cult following.
Yeah, 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I say bullshit.
Yeah, right. This movie is hilarious, and I think the people, it's I don't know, man. I feel like there's this like kind of comedy that when it's so stupid, you don't understand the artfulness of the stupidity to it. Like, there's a craft to the dumb element of this. You know, it's so dumb that it's like, I could see how a
movie critic or whatever
a critic might be like, this is ridiculous, but it's like, you don't understand how good this is at being dumb, you know?
Like the comedy structure and the way they ebb and flow between like story and then like game of the scene is like, wow, what are they? That's so good
that they're playing. Yeah, it's like the writers have an understanding of how comedy works beyond that which I think a reviewer, like you said, a critic can get. Because like the idea of the villain being so evil, but like he's only evil because MacGruber fucked him over so bad.
I love that story too. It's God, all these characters are just so good, and obviously they're paper cutouts of stereotyped characters from like MacGyver or action movies and stuff. It's parody, but it's really good parody.
I think so. I agree with you there.
And I love how MacGruber himself, like he's pumped up to be like this, you know, legendary soldier of sort, and has all these awards and stuff, and it turns out like he can't use a gun because he can't shoot a gun. All of his like stuff never work. Can't defuse a bomb.
Well, that was the joy of the sketch originally on SNL, was that it never worked.
It's just so good.
I know. And that they brought that into the movie is so much fun. I mean, there are a couple things, like we mentioned, there are a few things that didn't age well.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that. My thing that I was like, was when they're getting the team together, and it is funny. Like the
problem is that the timing is so funny, and it is like, I don't want to laugh. Okay, so I don't want to laugh at the homophobic nature of that scene, but I want to laugh at how skillfully they demonstrate his homophobia.
Yes. That's right. And that's just, he's gathering his team. You got this really big guy. It'd be great to be on the team. He kisses a shorter man in front of MacGruber. MacGruber crosses him off the list
immediately. Like, the timing of it is perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Okay, and then there's there's use of some language that I think might not be acceptable anymore.
Sure.
I think
Sure.
they drop an R word at some point.
Yeah, it's a product of its time.
Yeah.
We can acknowledge that there's certainly problems, but it's still
Using the woman character as the but even that is done so skillfully. The idea of like dressing Kristen Wiig up as MacGruber and using her as as bait, I guess.
Yep.
Because that scene of her hearing the van get shot up while she is dressed up like MacGruber in the coffee shop. Anyway,
Yeah,
Kristen Wiig in general in that movie.
Oh my God, she's so good at what she does in that movie.
I know,
And
'cause
I
it's
remember
so,
there's
like-
a time when I was like not so hot on Kristen Wiig because I didn't really understand how good she was and what range she brings to the table, but she's very good.
Maybe that's because you weren't watching SNL at the time, because she was like the standout
Right.
on that show, like before Kate McKinnon, it was Kristen Wiig, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, SNL for me, like I've always appreciated, I've always seen a couple sketches, I always recognize the people, but I was not like a avid watcher of the show. But although like I have a great attachment for the casts that came out of it, like
For sure.
all the people that I'm talking about, Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, like all these
Oh my
people
God,
are like
yes.
like fuck, like they're so good.
Yes.
There is a scene that I laughed. I mean, there's tons, but there is when MacGruber sacrifices Piper to as a body shield.
Oh yeah.
That's just so funny because it's just shot so well. He's just like, it's filmed in such a way that you would assume that he would save his friend, but instead uses him as a human.
Hides behind him. I just like I feel like that's like the lowest. That is the low point of the movie, right? Or that's where he loses, the team falls apart because Ryan Felipe's had enough. I should call him by his actual character name, but I'll call him Ryan Felipe.
Fair enough.
It's like, how'd you know I was wearing a bulletproof vest? You were wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, it's there's a line when they're getting the team together, which I'm just going to read to you verbatim from this quotes thing.
Excellent.
Which is, looks like you're keeping your body pretty tight. You're looking pretty good yourself. Well, every day's a workout when you got to carry around a 20-pound python in your jeans. You and your dick comments. It's fun to say them. It's fun to hear them. That's why I say them. And that's why I listen.
That's him and Chris Jericho, who like one of Canada's superstar wrestler / comedians.
Right? It's so good. And I mean, like, I feel like I'm just talking around all the good bits, but
Okay. Well, like we need to if that's what we're doing, then we have to stop and appreciate the moment where the general or the major, whoever it is telling MacGruber he's going to be off the case. And then he has to plead to Ryan Felipe's character to work with him. I will suck your dick. Just point to something in this room.
I will suck it or fuck it.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell me what you want me to fuck.
You see a lot of Will Forte's ass in this movie.
That's true, but that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's
No.
the tan lines of his upper body and lower bodies. It's quite something to watch.
It's true. Like they didn't bother. I like that they didn't bother doing a full like tanning booth or anything. They just kept the tan lines.
Yeah. Do you
tell me what
like?
you want me to fuck?
I just so
I'll say
good.
that
And
that's a highly quotable film, right? This is
highly quotable.
Yeah.
It's something I'm gonna put on. I mean, again and again. This is such a good film. What did you? What's your favorite? What other favorite moments do you have on this film?
Well, definitely tell me what you want me to fuck is probably like top, and the sex scene.
And the sex scene.
Oh my goodness, when the team ges blown up.
Yeah.
Right. And like the moment after when he's like, guys, no, just is like pleading, like is I mean, any moment where something stupid is MacGruber's responsibility and his reaction, his like 100% committed reaction to it.
Yep. Time to go pound some Cunth.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna save for. I was gonna save
That's
that.
what you're gonna do. You can still do it for later, but I just love how
I was also gonna start. I was like, I should start this episode by saying, "Are we gonna pound some Cunth today?"
I like at the very end of the movie where he he's just shooting the bad guy all the way down the cliff, and it's just.
And then he pisses on him.
It's excessive. It's very excessive.
It takes it to its like logical conclusion and then goes well beyond it.
Yep. What about the throat ripping?
Oh, I love a good throat rip. It is so unnecessary, but so much fun. Oh my God. I was just thinking of the opening credit scenes where he's like that brief moment where he's playing a saxophone in the opening credits. Anyway. Yeah, I love the good throat rip. Yeah. I love the dissatisfaction at the end because all he wants to do is cut off Cunth's dick and make him suck his own dick, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody, but just like the dissatisfaction at the end and how like graphic that is. It's like, what? Why? Why is this necessary?
Val Kilmer. That's just
oh my God, Val Kilmer is the greatest in this. Were you a big also Val Kilmer, like that was I think when I started watching. I think I was maybe too young for a Michael Keaton Batman. So the Val Kilmer Batman was probably my Batman introduction.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen it.
I've always had a fondness for Val. And also, was it Hot Shots? Was that he was in Hot Shots? Have you seen Hot Shots?
I have not seen Hot Shots.
Oh my God. Do yourself a favor.
And watch that. Is it funny?
Yeah, it's like in the same vein as like the Naked Gun type movies.
Oh, you got me. All right. I'm in. Well,
I don't know if it's the same writers and stuff. It might be,
but same like feel and
definitely.
I could use that's why I really like MacGruber, and I would have liked it anyways. But it's such a fun time to shut your brain off.
That's
Eat
it.
Some edibles
right?
if you got it. Like
it's not. I'm not saying it's like high cinema. It's not the most intelligent or the most intelligent film out there, you know what I mean? But it is hilarious. It is, like you said, turn your brain off for a second, like turn off the judgment. I guess that's a big improv thing too, right? Is like turn off the judgment of being like, oh, this film is so stupid. It's like, yeah, it knows it's stupid,
but that's so well written stupid, and that's the difference, because there's a lot of stupid films out there that are stupid for the sake of stupid. Like this is like fantastic timing, joke structure, like all of it is really well executed. So while it's stupid, they fully commit to all of it. It
is well crafted stupidity.
Yes. The best kind.
Exactly. What movie did I say to watch? Was it Top Secret? Because it's supposed to be Top Secret.
Okay, you said Hot something.
Hot Shots, which is also good. I think those are all like Zucker Brothers movies.
Okay.
Airplane and
that's
exactly.
Okay.
Naked Gun and that kind of stuff. But anyway, he was in Top Secret. It looks like that was possibly his first. Anyway, that was like, I'm surprised. I would have thought that Top Secret came out after Top Gun. Or was it Hot Shots? Now I'm so confused. Which one was he in? Okay, so Val Kilmer was in Top Secret. Perfect. Okay. Which came out before Top Gun. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. My brain is melting right now.
Too many tops. Anyway, because he's in Top Gun with Tom Cruise there, right? He's his
right. But he's better in this role.
Yeah, 100%.
There is one more running gag that I thought was just so funny, and that's when when MacGruber memorizes the license plate.
Oh my God! Oh, so good.
And then he has his book of clues that his partner is looking through, and it's just nothing to do with the case.
I know, it's such a like stupid like C story or D story. Yesterday was the first time, so I rewatched the movie yesterday just so it would be fresh in my mind for our chat, because often when I'm watching it, I am very high and I don't remember things the next day. It was just like there was a production assistant in this movie who had to make that notebook. You know what I mean? Like that was
I
somebody's
know, that's
job.
amazing. I would buy that notebook.
Moment. I would. I was like, even just a page of that notebook, I would frame.
Because it just escalates as you go through. It's like,
Oh
oh, he just wants to get revenge on this one stranger who wronged him.
It takes a shit. You know, they don't make it make sense to the story. They just throw in his moment of redemption. It is. You think like if this was a Herald, right? Like you'd think it would all come together at the end, but no, it's just like a random moment of satisfaction inside the movie. Where it just torches the car. The guy's just like, "Hey, my car." He's like, "Oh, so much like." So many like good retorts, you know, like even just like the ways of saying fuck you in that movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like when he walks into the party and he just sort of flips the guy off. Oh,
like no reason to do that. It's just being a dick. He is a dick. MacGruber's a dick.
I know.
Which is
Will Forte plays like high status idiot so well.
Yeah. And they're all pretty different from one another too. I mean, like if you're talking about Last Man on Earth versus MacGruber, like they are both very similar because they're high status idiots, but they're different types of idiots.
There's different reasons for them to be idiots.
Yeah, that's right. Any final thoughts of MacGruber before we wrap this up, Brie?
Just that I'm gonna shoot.
How would you rate MacGruber?
Maybe a 10 out of 10 ghost orgasms.
Okay. And then Maya Rudolph also makes those noises, which is also
that's a wow.
It's so stupid. Well, obviously, we had nothing but joy to say about MacGruber today. So thank you again, Brie, for making me watch this film.
I'm so glad that, like, it was going to be that. And what was the other one we were
Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite. Which
I'm so glad
seen? Yeah.
I've seen Napoleon Dynamite. I'm wary about how well it holds up. I don't know, but this was fantastic.
I'd have to rewatch it too. It's been a while, but I'm much happier to talk about MacGruber.
So good. What do you have to plug for the people at home?
Let's see. These days, my brother and I we're trying to be a bit more on the ball with our podcast. So we've got the Constant Struggle podcast, which you could just find on any podcast place like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or we're on Podbean. So I guess I should say Podbean, because I'm pretty sure if you want to start a podcast, you should probably get Podbean, because I'm pretty sure if you follow the right link, we get money back.
Oh, is that a thing with Podbean you can do?
Well, you have to set up your affiliate link.
Oh, yes. Check out the Constant Struggle. Fun podcast.
Yeah. And then Improv Niagara is running some online shows right now, and we're doing some online Zoom classes. So if you're interested in learning improv and you're looking for a place to do it, Improv Niagara is running classes right now. Also, Guess Who's Coming to Improv? If you want to play some improv right now, is happening once a month. And also, this is news that I haven't even announced yet, but myself and Janet Davidson are going to be running a bi-monthly, is that every 2 weeks, twice a month?
Bi-weekly?
But that makes me think it's like twice a week.
I think it's bi-weekly.
Okay,
whatever.
So anyway,
every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, we're going to be running an improv jam through the Second City. So if you're interested in performing some improv with your fellow Second City students, or even if you're not a Second City student, I'm sure they'll let you come play. Anyway, basically all the improv and a podcast.
That is so much more than most guests. So thank you, Brie, for keeping that creative brain churning.
I feel like in this world, it's hard to do things right now. But one thing that is not hard to do is making shit up on the spot. You really don't need to be on a stage to be able to do that. So let's do it on the virtual stage, and keep our brains sharp. That's what I
right.
think.
I love it. I love it. For myself, you can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. We'll be back with another episode of Talking Tuong. Brie will be back in the Pod Cavern, I'm sure, ranking some stuff. Don't worry, she'll be back. Now, Brie, can you give us your world famous catchphrase?
Let's go pound some cunth.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.